Hello everyone today. Welcome to Geopulse. Today we are back with another episode that is conflict analysis. In this video we will understand first what is conflict analysis. Second we will discuss the key approaches in conflict analysis, and last we will explain the elements of conflict analysis. What is conflict analysis? Conflict analysis is the structured study of a conflict's causes, actors, and dynamics to guide effective resolution and peacebuilding. Conflict analysis means breaking down a dispute into its causes, key players, and patterns, so we can spot what drives it and where peace efforts can actually work. Let's move on to the approaches of conflict analysis. 3 key approaches to conflict analysis are 1. Harvard approach, 2. Human needs theory, and 3. Conflict transformation. The Harvard approach, by Fisher, distinguishes between positions, what people demand, and interests, the deeper reasons behind those demands, encouraging solutions based on fair criteria. Human needs theory, given by John Burton, argues that disputes persist when basic needs like identity, safety, and recognition remain unmet, and resolution requires addressing these directly. Conflict transformation by Paul Lederick sees conflict as a chance to reshape relationships, emphasizing empowerment, cultural respect, and long-term change to ensure peace lasts beyond a single agreement. For better understanding, let's apply these approaches on the Israel-Palestine conflict. The Harvard approach seeks negotiated agreements on borders, security, and land access through rational, interest-based dialogue. Human needs theory argues the conflict stems from unmet needs for security, identity, and dignity, needs that must be addressed to break cycles of violence. Conflict transformation views it as a chance to reshape relationships, creating spaces for dialogue and reconciliation to build a shared future. Moving to the last part of the video, we have elements of conflict analysis. To understand any conflict, we break it into key elements that reveal its structure and dynamics. 3 elements of conflict analysis are 1. Timeline, stakeholders models to understand underlying causes. Timeline of a conflict is further understood in 2 aspects: phases and stages. In conflict analysis, phases and stages are often used interchangeably but have subtle differences. Phases describe specific periods, like escalation with rising violence, de-escalation with reduced tensions, or negotiation with diplomatic efforts. Stages suggest a linear progression, from latent tensions, to emergence as conflict becomes visible, to escalation with rapid violence, and finally a plateau of stalemate or relative stability. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has moved through distinct phases. The escalation phase saw periods of increasing violence, including the 1948 and Six-Day Wars. This was followed by a de-escalation phase marked by truces and agreements like the Oslo Accords. Efforts continue in the negotiation phase, with ongoing diplomatic attempts for a resolution, like the various peace talks. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict can be viewed through distinct stages. It began in a latent phase of underlying tensions and competing nationalisms. The emergence stage saw the 1948 Arab-Israeli War and the displacement of Palestinians. This escalated into periods of intense conflict, reaching a plateau of prolonged stalemate with ongoing tensions, before the current focus on a potential resolution stage with peace negotiations and proposed solutions. The second element to understand conflict analysis is the stakeholders. Stakeholders are individuals, groups, or organizations that have a vested interest in the outcome of a conflict. They are of 3 types: 1. Primary, 2. Secondary, and 3. Interested. In context of Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the various stakeholders involved are primary stakeholders, which includes combatants like the Israeli government and Palestinian Authority, as well as Israeli citizens and Palestinian people. Religious leaders also hold a significant moral authority. Secondary stakeholders are neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan, and international organizations like the UN. Finally, interested stakeholders are global powers, lobbying groups, and the defense industry. Now the last element of the conflict analysis: models to understand the underlying causes. This includes 1. Conflict triangle model, conflict tree model and the iceberg model. Through Galtung's conflict triangle, the Israel-Palestine conflict shows hostile attitudes shaped by fear and mistrust, violent behaviors like wars and intifadas, and deep-rooted contradictions over land, identity, and security. It is used for a systemic overview to show how violence is a symptom of deeper issues. It stands best for an initial analysis to explain that a lasting solution requires addressing all three parts, not just the behavior. Using the conflict tree model, the Israel-Palestine conflict reveals root causes like territorial disputes and colonial legacies, core problems of identity and dignity, and visible effects such as violence, displacement, and refugee crises. It is excellent for illustrating how a conflict's effects are tied to its long-standing, often buried, historical causes. Through the iceberg model, the Israel-Palestine conflict shows visible violence above the surface, proximate causes like borders and resources just below, and deep drivers, historic grievances, religion, and identity, hidden at the base. It is used to deepen the analysis and move beyond surface-level issues. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you never miss our deep dives